Test, test.
There's no honor in unarmed civilians, and I won't let it happen. And I won't let it happen. hurting these people, man. Stop hurting these people. They don't lie. This is not a war zone. There's no honor in hurting unarmed civilians, and I won't let it happen. And I won't let it happen.
All right. We're covering Kamala Harris, Biden's choice for VP, Vice President. And Mike's internet just crashed.
I'm back.
Okay, you're back. All right.
Nice, nice, nice. Did we do the intro?
Yeah, we got the intro still going, but I'm gonna fade that out. Yeah,
Okay, sweet.
for the audio audience, we just had Kamala, the WWE wrestler, little theme song from him, and a lot of wrestling footage up on the screen.
Nice. Kamala, big Kamala. Rest in peace.
So yeah, big news this week. We're a little late, you know. We do the podcast on Saturdays, so you know we're like kind of 4 or 5 days behind the times on this one. Hopefully, some people will still tune in.
Yeah, I mean, it's still pretty fresh. Everyone's covering it. They had to give time to Jimmy Fallon's writers to write something terrible for him. I think that aired like last night or something.
Oh yeah, I was gonna pull that up in a bit. We'll pull that up later.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So we should be good.
Yeah.
His piece is terrible. Seth, what's his face's piece is terrible.
All the late night hosts had
Stephen
you know,
Colbert's piece is
pretty
terrible.
predictable takes.
Awful takes, awful, boring, terrible content. They're complete like pandering idiots.
Yeah. I mean, I've been surprised by how positively she's been received by so many people.
Yeah, by the mainstream. I mean, like if you go onto the threads and Reddit, they are not happy. Left-wing people are not happy. But
well, she never had the
we'll
progressives. Yeah, we will. So, just I mean, really quick, like this is the vice president. What is the role of the vice president? Why does it matter? In modern times, they don't generally provide much pushback to the president. But if the president no longer becomes able to serve, aka if Biden dies or gets crazy dementia or Alzheimer's, this is the next in line. And they're also the president of the Senate. They don't cast votes in the Senate, but they do cast tie-breaking votes if there's a tie on anything. So, I mean, especially when you've got someone like Biden, who is 77 years old, would be the oldest president ever, and has already shown what could be said to be signs of fading mental capacity. It's an important role. It's a more important role than it normally is, the vice president. Anything more to add to that?
Yeah,
Mike?
and well, it's like the whole narratives have shifted, right? Because it was Biden Trump, and now it's like Trump Kamala. Like it's not. It seems like the whole left wing operating system has just like switched the focus to Kamala.
Yeah,
she's the one to watch. She's the one that we're gonna be. You know, I mean, it makes sense. Like if you're running Biden's campaign, you're like, good. Now I can lean on Kamala a lot because Biden's old, he's tired, he can't keep up. It's nice to shift some of the work over and have her kind of take the lead on a lot of things and have that focus over there. She's a great debater. She's a good public speaker. She's you know, charismatic. I think she's got a lot of positives. I think in a lot of ways, I think he made a good choice. Do you think it was a good choice?
There's so many different variables, but you know what? I immediately when he chose her, I was like, "What on earth?" I did not see it coming, did not expect it. Upon reflection, I do think so for a bunch of reasons that we're going to get into throughout the course of this. But yeah, my perspective's changed. I do think it was a good choice. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm on a similar page. Like when I first saw it, I was like, "Why didn't you pick Bernie Sanders? Like you would have swapped. You would have swept everything if you just picked Bernie Sanders. Or why didn't you pick somebody like?" Even Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar, you know, like any of those young people who were doing like coming up in the ranks, you know, they seem so much more likable than someone like Kamala. But you know, George Floyd and BLM, and you know, he announced he was going to pick a woman.
Exactly.
For
Him and
sure.
Bernie Sanders were both kind of cornered during the debates into like vouching that they would select a female as vice president. So going back on that would not look good.
That'd be great. That'd be great if he was just like, now is not the time. We just need to beat Donald Trump, and I'm taking Bernie on.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, who is
Yeah.
Kamala? I've got, a quick bullet point list of who is Kamala. She was a legal prosecutor in California. She became the Attorney General of California. She has been a California senator. She's now the third woman to run as vice president on a major party ticket. She's the first Asian American and the first black woman to run in the general election as president or vice president. Mike, your hand is in your head. Or your head is in your hands. Why?
Yeah. So, what do you want to start? Do you want to start? You want to start with the sex scandal, the sleeping her way to the top scandal?
Yeah, I do want to start with that.
Yeah. Okay. So she dated Mayor Willie Brown, who was the mayor of San Francisco. She was 30. He was 60 something.
Young love
And
knows
then
no
while
age.
they were, yeah, I mean, love knows no age when you stay together forever, but not when you sleep with your friend to get a job.
And he was married.
Like, yeah, and he was married. So she got her first job with the Employment Board of California, something like $160,000 salary a year in today's money. I think she stayed there for 4 months or 5 months, and then immediately got another job on the California Medical Association Commission in 1994, which again is another like 120,000 US dollars a year salary. She's half a decade younger than we are, pulling in huge amounts of money. Like, this is not just like, oh, he got her like a little job, little something to do, a little. This is a huge, high paid position. Both of these high paying jobs, tons of money, launched her into politics, uh, advanced her career by arguably decades. Like, it would normally take somebody uh, half a lifetime to get here. One of the boards she was on, I think the average age of everyone there was like 66, and then she's there with 30 years old. Like, we're talking about retired doctors, retired lawyers. Like,
So to be clear, she wouldn't have gotten to these
And-
positions if she didn't sleep with the guy. I think we have a delay on our feed right
she
now.
She never would have had a hope. She never would have had a hope of getting these jobs if she wasn't sleeping with that guy.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. So I mean, that's that. Then the second point, the first black woman. She's not black. This woman isn't black. This is ridiculous. Like, I mean, it drives me crazy. So like, at least you said black and not African American, because she's being called by the mainstream media as the first African American vice president nominee. She's not African American. She's half Jamaican and half Indian. She only looks black because Indian people are not white, and you fucking idiots can't tell the difference. This is ridiculous. This is absolute fucking nonsense. She's an Indian woman, or you could say she's a mixed woman, Indian Jamaican. Jamaican people are mixed as well, obviously. Like, the people in the Caribbean are generally mixed as is.
Yeah. Okay, but
to call this person white, like,
we talk about
call this person black, you might as well call her white.
To call her black, you might as well call her white. Is that what you're saying? Why? Sorry, why is that?
She's got Irish. She's got Irish DNA. She's got Irish people in her ancestry.
Much more black.
Why
I
is
mean,
she not the first Irish vice president
you
woman?
You could say the same thing about Obama. Like, why was Obama the first black president? Why was he not just another white president?
Yeah, but at least he's half Kenyan. And you know what? Like, yeah, maybe Obama shouldn't have been classified as the first black president. But like,
Kamala, you're sounding like a purist. You're sounding like everybody hates Angel right now. With the if you're not 100% black, you ain't black.
Okay, but what if you're like 20% black? Are you black? And what if you're 20% of the black at the same time as you're 50% Indian? Like, why don't we just call her Indian?
Okay, well, the framework that everybody's operating in is that race is a social construct, and it's all about like what you're perceived as and what community you feel a part of. And Kamala is obviously, due to the fact that we're even talking about the coverage of her and how everybody perceives her, is perceived as black, as African American. So that's all it means, is perception. Social construct.
I mean, it seems pretty obvious to me. Like, Indians often go unnoticed, and it seems pretty obvious that she could use like, oh, well, I'm black, like, use that as a huge advantage point to have.
Uh, Going more into depth.
Well, like, you know the story of that guy who got into Harvard. He was an Indian guy. He couldn't get into school. He had mediocre grades, and so what did he do? He shaved his head, got a tan, told everyone he was black, went by the name Jamal. Boom, got into Harvard.
Really,
And like
I
it's
actually don't know that story.
it's have you ever heard of seen that brown chick on The Office, Mila
Yeah, yeah.
Kingling or whatever?
I don't
It's her
remember her name, but
brother
I know
that
what you're
did it.
talking about. Okay,
It's her brother, yeah.
okay.
And so yeah, like he wrote a book about it afterwards. And yeah, it's obvious. Indian people do this all the time. And like I'm half Indian. I know lots of Indian people that do this. They're like, oh yeah, I'll just like not tell people that I'm not black. I'll get a fade. I'll get the kind of right haircut. You know, maybe shave some things in my eyebrows. Indian people do this all the time because it's easier to get attention if you're black than if you're Indian.
Yeah.
So it just seems like this is exactly what she's doing. If you're Indian and you're listening to this, you know what I'm fucking talking about. Don't even try to say this is racist or you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Don't fucking lie. You know it's true.
Hmm. All right. Well, her
So
her
yeah,
history as a prosecutor, that was kind of a big story when she was running in the primaries for Democratic nominee for president. Right? She ran. We didn't mention that she ran against Joe Biden in the primary elections. So her history as a prosecutor is unlike many Democrats, and certainly not what the progressive left would like to see in a candidate. She pursued parents of children who were truant from school, would put them in jail. So kids who were late or absent from school, she would legally pursue the parents and potentially put them in prison. She resisted. She resisted an order to ease California's prison overcrowding by releasing prisoners, which is something that would be popular among a lot of the Democrat constituents. She opposed marijuana legalization in 2010 and 2012, but she's since changed her position on that since she famously told, I believe it was Hot 97 and Charlemagne the God, that she was smoking weed in college while listening to Tupac and Notorious B.I.G. and Snoop Dogg
Snoop Dogg. Yeah.
before they had even became musical artists.
Yeah. She went to school. So I did look this up. She went to school, law school in 1989, and Snoop Dogg's first album came out in 1993. So this is not her undergrad that you do for 3 or 4 years. This is her post grad, which you do for 1 or 2 years. So she would have graduated by the time Snoop Dogg came out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a blatant lie. It's a blatant fucking lie.
Well, it's possible she misremembered. You know, some people.
Maybe, yeah, you know, maybe it was when she was working those late nights. She had actually, this was 1 year before the album came out, 1 year before she got that job. So she was actually probably sleeping with Willie Brown smoking joints.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But this is one of many straws on the camel's back for Kamala Harris's genuineness. But going further on her history as a prosecutor, she aggressively prosecuted a lot of misdemeanors. She didn't support the banning of the death penalty. She basically supported the death penalty. And her reason for all this that she says now is that she was working to change the system from inside and that she couldn't always go with her instincts. Her client was the state of California, and that's what she was trying to serve. So it wasn't her acting as herself. It was more just her acting as a lawyer on behalf of the state of California.
Yeah, there's also like she was against statewide body cam requirements. She refused to respond for victims that were abused by the Catholic clergy. Um, she supported bills that support seizing assets for civil forfeiture. She fought against releasing non-violent offenders so that they could be used to fight
Yeah.
wildfires in California. Did you have other stuff you wanted to go through, or am I just stepping on your toes
No,
here?
on her history as a prosecutor, no, I'd gone through my big bullet notes.
Yeah, so she got in trouble for like fighting to allow false testimony in, uh which put somebody in jail for a double homicide when they were actually innocent, and then DNA evidence came out that they were free. I think she was like a big proponent of like three strike law that uh put somebody in jail for the rest of their life, even when they were had like two police witnesses say they were free.
Yeah.
Um, and then most recently, I think she got in trouble for what was it? A crime lab scandal. So her office violated defendants' rights by hiding damaging information about a police drug lab technician who sabotaged evidence. And a judge found against Harris and demanded the cases be revisited. Over 1,000 cases were overturned.
Yeah,
So,
so this is not someone that I said before, the progressive left. This is not the progressive left's darling by any stretch.
no, they're not happy. And like recently, I've seen, if you follow Vouch, Vouch was crying on TV yesterday on YouTube.
He was not crying. I don't like to defend Vouch, but I watched that entire clip. He was not crying.
Vouch was famously not crying.
In fact, like you're not framing it right. He was not, like, the reason he was upset, not crying, but upset, was that his audience was not in support of Kamala Harris. And he was like, listen, we need to support Kamala Harris. We need to support Biden because we need the Democrats in power, and we can...
Yeah.
In his mind, he believes that the fascist far right have infiltrated the right-wing Republican Party, and that the left need to learn from that and do the same themselves and work within the system as much as they can. And when ultimately someone like Joe Biden is in power and people are still like, hey, things aren't ideal, someone like Vouch will come out, rise to the top, and say, you know what? It's not ideal right now because we are not full socialist. Vouch is a YouTuber. This guy's to the left of Bernie Sanders, for those who don't know.
Yeah, and Cenk Uygur was on saying similar kind of thing, saying like, hey, like, now is not the time. Now is not the time to be upset we don't have Bernie. Now is not the time to be upset we don't have Andrew Yang. Now is not the time to be upset we don't have a progressive. Kamala is way more progressive than Donald Trump is. Joe Biden is way more progressive than Donald Trump is. So now is the time to vote for them. And as soon as they get voted in, we'll go back to fighting and go back to making everything go for the left. Cenk Uygur started his what's it called? Rebellion PAC or something. He started his ads against Donald Trump, I think the day they announced Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris.
No, Mike, stop being a bigot. It's Kamala. So just think you are calming the Islamic God. You're calming Allah.
I think she's from the Tamil region.
Well, it doesn't matter. We're calming Allah with her election.
Kamala. Yeah. So that's the intro to Kamala, and the wave it's sending through.
Yeah, so she performed all right in the Democratic primaries. She averaged around 10% in vote share throughout her run. She swung as low as 5%. At a brief peak, she was as high as 20% in some polls. She had a steady decline in support and fundraising before dropping out, which was still actually a surprise. A lot of people, myself included, expected her to be running for a lot longer, hoping to pull back up in the polls and even maybe run as so long as, the first votes in Iowa. But she wasn't a Titan challenger ever like Warren, Sanders, or Biden. She was never really in that upper echelon.
I thought she was going to win the day that she announced she was running. I was like, that's it.
That was Mike's prediction for winning. I think we actually placed a bet on that. I don't remember what the terms of the what we wagered.
Don't count me out now. She actually might end up being the president of the United States of America now.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't protest that. I in my head I would be thinking that's not fair and you cheated, but I think it was a bottle of scotch that we wagered or something like that. I'd buy you a bottle.
It was a bottle of scotch.
If Joe Biden dies or for some reason or another
the
can't
day
serve,
of the election he dies, he just gets poisoned to death for some reason.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Kamala's sleeping with married men to get to the top. Like, would she not slip some Russian plutonium in a drink to get to the top? I don't know.
Maybe someone will poke him with an umbrella when he walks down the street.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just who knows? It's a big world. Anything can happen.
You've
got 89 days to see what goes down. It's a long way from the finish line, and they're in the lead right now. So Go ahead.
Well, no, I got a question. So you brought this up in private conversation. You brought this up. You're obviously very fired up about her, in your mind, not being black, or rather maybe not being African American. Why is that important to you? Why do you think that matters?
Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if she's African American or not. But I just find it scandalous that she's lying, misrepresenting her race in order to pander to voters. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
But I thought
what's wrong with her being Indian?
Well,
why can't we have the first Indian women prime minister? That ticks boxes.
Do you have quotes from her or statements from her or something that she said where you feel like she's misrepresenting her race? Because everything that you said so far was about how she's being covered, how she's being received by other people.
She applied and went to the black university in the United States. Went to Howard, right? It's a famously black college.
Mm-hmm.
Not black. You have no business being there. Like, it's ridiculous. You know, her mom's.
Okay.
Her mom's.
I just want to get your position clear, because when I said she was black, you were like, I'm glad you didn't say African American, because I mean, she's not African American.
Yeah.
You're saying that she's not black either?
I wouldn't classify her as black, but at least if you say she's black, at least she might be around 25% black.
Sure. So she can't. So you know, there's a lot of people that go to Howard that are like a quarter black. You think she has no place there, being a quarter black?
You know, if she was like a quarter black and then like a quarter something else and a quarter something else and a quarter something else, I might be like, okay, fine, like whatever. She's a whole bunch of things. She's all mixed up, but the biggest chunk is black. The biggest chunk of her genetic makeup is Indian. There's no reason why she shouldn't identify as Indian. Like, she is Indian. Her mom is full Indian, and there's not like what? Is there something wrong with being Indian? What the fuck?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's all about Black Lives Matter right now, though. Oh, you're frozen right now. I hope you're back soon. So I hope you can hear me right now. For the audio, can you hear me? Okay,
Yeah.
Cool. So the most important thing to me, we were talking about this on the previous episode. So this is a democracy. We all get one vote, apparently. But if in the 2016 elections, Matt Drudge, Rush Limbaugh, Steve Bannon, if those three, or perhaps even just one of those three, didn't support Donald Trump and didn't cover him so positively and push for him in their respective media outlets, then Donald Trump would certainly have not become president of the United States. So I think it's very important to consider how the media is covering, and we've had a taste for that over the week now, how the media is covering Kamala Harris. So there's apparently broad Democratic support for Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
And we saw even with far left people like Vaush that there's a pragmatic shift in their perspective. Whereas in the primary, they were all against Kamala. But now a lot of them are saying we have to vote Kamala. We have to get behind Biden, Kamala Harris ticket. And we can also see Sean King, right? So you showed me some tweets earlier in the week how during the Democratic primary, Sean King said he named both Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and said that he would not support them ever. Now that Joe Biden has selected Kamala Harris as his vice president, Sean King is saying that it's a historic, great thing and ostensibly throwing his support behind the ticket.
That's unbelievable.
So we also have a great barometer or measure for how the tides are going is how the late shows are covering it, right? All the left-wing late shows, and I think without exception they're all left-wing. So I've got that Jimmy Fallon clip I sent to you in Telegram. We're gonna pull that up for the viewing audience. I believe the clip starts at 126 or 127, and let me just get that up here. And we're going to start playing right now.
We're very excited to talk about it. Take a look. Hey, folks. Thanks for joining me on your Zoom boxes. I'm sure you're all buzzing like a honeypot to talk about Kamala. You know, I'm thrilled to announce her as my running mate and can't wait for all the excitement and experience she brings to the team. But
Mr. Vice President, what are Kamala's plans for the country once she gets into the White House?
Well, Kamala and I will work together hand in hand in the White House to restore the soul of this nation.
Mr. Vice President, how does it feel to be reaching this exciting moment in your campaign? Kamala Harris, wow.
Well, you know, I thought we were running a pretty exciting campaign before this, but...
That's all.
Okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Biden, I have a foreign policy question.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Has Kamala asked about me?
Ask about you? No. How is that a foreign policy question?
Oh, I was just hoping to take a trip with her.
Come on.
Vice President Biden, when you are the president...
Thank you.
I think Kamala Harris is amazing and inspiring.
Is that a question?
I think Kamala Harris is amazing and inspiring?
Okay.
Is Kamala nice in person?
Yes, she's very, very nice.
Knew it. You can just tell. Very kind eyes.
I have a question, Mr. Oh my God, what was your name again?
Joe Biden.
Of course, Jim. My question is, Is Kamala here?
No, she's not.
Aww.
But I can send a link to her virtual speech in the chat.
Yay!
All right. Does anyone have a question that is not about Kamala Harris?
I do.
Great. Shoot.
How is Barack Obama doing?
Seriously?
And follow-up question: do you think you would ever want to be the vice president again? Maybe like.
I mean,
next?
I think we got the
Okay,
picture.
that's
We can
enough.
probably cut it now.
I'm excited to have Kamala running beside me in this.
It's pretty rough. Life's pretty rough for you when Jimmy Fallon's making fun of you.
Yeah, I mean, well, this goes back to you saying how it's all shifted to be all about Kamala Harris and not so much about Joe Biden. I mean, that's what the joke is right there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What do you think? What's your take on it?
I like I said in the beginning, I was shocked to see how warm a reception that she got. Total embrace by mainstream media, like across the board on the late night shows. Here's a perfect example. Like, and these are people who were pro Joe Biden. I mean, they throw shots at him every once in a while, as you kind of have to. But now Kamala Harris just totally eclipsed Joe Biden. This is kind of unprecedented. Like, I can't remember an election that I've watched where the VP overshadowed the.
Yeah, like I don't even know who's the name of the guy that ran with Hillary. Tim Kaine.
Yeah.
Is it Ryan Kaine?
Oh, yeah, Tim Kaine. Tim Kaine.
Yeah. Okay. And then like Obama ran with Joe Biden, and I know that because he's running now. But yeah, like I don't remember who ran with John Kerry. I don't remember who ran with whoever lost all the last elections.
Yeah,
just can't remember them.
Yeah.
But Kamala's like the star center stage right now. It seems like.
Yeah, and she seems like she's more well connected than I knew rather. She was speaking at the DNC to get while in Obama's election campaign. And this is from this was interesting. This is from this is the National Review reporting. Quote, Nick Pacilio, Kamala Harris's former press secretary, is now in charge of deciding/announcing what the President of the United States can say and can't say on Twitter to his 85 million followers. Twitter has already removed debatable contentions by the president, or contentions no more misleading than any number of Joe Biden allegations. The point of removing tweets, I assume, has more to do with being able to call Trump a liar than worrying about spreading his misleading information. But the optics are remarkably terrible for Twitter. It's almost certainly true that whoever holds the job of senior communication manager at the social media giant will be ideologically progressive, like the company's CEO. But you could imagine what the nightly reaction on CNN and MSNBC would be if Mike Pence's former spokesman was censoring Joe Biden's tweets during a presidential election. I have no doubt Democrats would be calling for congressional hearings. So this is the former spokesman for Kamala Harris, who is, deep in the thick of what is being censored and what is being allowed to be said on Twitter.
Yeah, it's just like they said. Like, imagine if the seats were reversed. Imagine if the roles were reversed. Like right now, did you see the news about like somebody tweeted that she might not technically be eligible. Somebody wrote an article. She might not technically be eligible.
Oh, that's been all over. Yeah.
And so now they're like, it's the new birther movement. This crazy conspiracy is going on. There's no new birther movement. There's no crazy conspiracy going around. There's one guy who wrote one article who wrote, because of a constitutional technicality, she might not actually be able to run. And it's completely blown up by left-wing media. Like, oh, Trump didn't even outright deny it. He's basically promoting the scandal. And like, I think his exact words were like, as far as I know, she is eligible. I think those were his exact words.
Yeah. That was absurd. And that plays into exactly what I'm saying about how the media is really in the tank for Kamala Harris. If you watch that Trump press conference and you watch what he actually said, the actual quotes, and even if you watch the video, the tones he used and everything, he's like, He even said to the reporter, he's like, "Oh, so you're saying that she wasn't born here, and that means that she perhaps can't run for VP?" And they're like, "No, no, no, no. The claim is that because her parents weren't naturalized citizens and they were here on student visas, that she might not be eligible to be a naturalized citizen and run for VP." He's like, "Oh, I don't really know. I'd have to look into that." And if you look at the coverage, it's all like racist remarks from Trump, Trump backing racist conspiracy theories about Kamala Harris.
Yeah, and the guy who actually wrote it is like, no, I never said that. I'm just saying like we need to look into this and investigate it. These are the same kind of criticisms that I put against other people that have ran for similar positions that were white and men. I don't know what you're talking about. He's just like some old guy they're just attacking.
Yeah, it's really sad, and this is like across the board. Like this is all pretty much all mainstream coverage is framing things like it's a racist attack from Trump and his administration against Kamala Harris and the Joe Biden team.
Yeah, so like I just top comment on like the top Reddit thread about this that I was reading earlier is like it took less than 5 minutes for all the birthers, racists, and misogynists to come out of the woodwork. The number of white people on Facebook who think they get to decide if she is black is unreal. People calling a whore and worse is rampant. It is less about Kamala being popular and more about defending her rights and humanity as fellow decent human beings. And they're just like, this is tons of likes, this is tons of upvotes, this is the sentiment from people that like racist Republicans are attacking her. It's because she's black. It's because she's a woman. So like Joe Biden picked the perfect person to like get all this fucking shit, all these people riled up, all this stuff in the news, all the attention on their campaign.
Okay, well, so was it the perfect person? So he had narrowed it down some time before that he was going to pick a black female specifically. Are you
was
saying
it
that
black or I think it
yes.
was just female? No,
I definitely started out as female, but I think very soon after that it became narrowed down to black female. And there's several reasons for that. So like Stacey Abrams, Georgia legislator, Karen Bass, Congresswoman from California, they were both the other black women that he was looking at. They were both seen as the anti-Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is kind of more seen as a typical politician, playing politics.
Hillary 2.0.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know about that, but maybe. But Kamala Harris, like I said, like typical politician for a lot of different reasons, and not running so well with the progressives as Stacey Abrams or Karen Bass would. Why do you say that Kamala is the perfect choice?
Maybe not Kamala specifically, but a black woman.
Okay,
boom. This like everyone's hook, line, and sinker, like going to do his bidding now, and he's generating a ton of news this week. Everything in the news is about the campaign.
Yeah.
So it's a great revival to his campaign. The joke that was on Jimmy Fallon that we just saw was that his campaign has been completely boring and there's no energy, and everyone's kind of just listening to him drone on and on and on in front of a camera. And now boom, like I'm sure there's going to be some big rally or some online thing or some big public event that they're going to do soon, and that'll get more traction too. And if Donald Trump says anything, they're like, oh well, he's just a sexist, how could he even say that? That's so fucking disgusting. Like, he hasn't really responded at all. He hasn't really paid much attention to Kamala as far as I can see.
Well, I mean, he's made responses.
It is an odd choice, though, in terms of like picking somebody who outshines you and is weird, like.
Well, one of the things that the Biden team was looking for, and this really throws me off as to why they chose Kamala. Obviously, there's something going on behind the scenes, but one of the things that they said that they were looking for to potential candidates is they wanted someone who didn't have ambitions to run for president subsequently themselves.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But it seems pretty obvious that Kamala Harris has ambitions to run for president afterwards.
Seems like that too. But she also seems to me to be a duplicitous opportunist who would be willing to lie about anything. So I could see her making deals behind the scenes like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, maybe. It'll also be interesting, like if he makes his first term, there's no way Joe Biden's going to do a second term. So she'll be a shoo-in essentially. You know, if they can get elected right now, she'll be a shoo-in to be the president. Years. I think that's probably where she's going with her career.
So yeah, I mean, like we said, 77. Biden's the oldest major party nominee in history, if elected, oldest president to hold the office. And if Biden wins in November, since John Adams first held the VP position in 1789, 14 out of 47 vice presidents have gone on to become the president. This makes it the largest predictor of who will be a future president, is having been a vice president. And it's very common for VPs to run for president. Plus, Kamala already ran. So yeah, I would put odds on her becoming a future president very strong, very good odds.
Yeah, she's the right age too, right? She's not she's not too young, she's not too old, and like you said, everything you just said, like she's got the resume. And you know what? Like for a Democratic ticket, I think she's like she's not that bad. She's pretty center. She's pretty she's pretty what you would expect from the Democratic Party to put out, right? Her odds look good. She looks like she'd be an okay, middle of the road kind of decent president. Everyone's trying to make her seem like on the right that she's this like far left progressive. She's the furthest progressive they've ever had. She's the fourth most progressive person by votes. But like it doesn't really seem that way. It seems like they're being alarmist about it. What do you think?
Just repeat the question again.
So like the right wing seems to be portraying her, Ben Shapiro, Fox News, Tucker Carlson. They're kind of like portraying her as this radical leftist. And I'm not seeing it. I look at her more as like a centrist or an opportunist, or she just seems to be basically in line with Joe Biden, you know?
Yeah. I would say that she's in line with Joe Biden. Yeah.
Yeah, she certainly doesn't go as left as somebody like Bernie Sanders. She certainly doesn't go as left as I would say somebody like Andrew Yang or Tulsi Gabbard or something like that.
Yeah, it's more on, I guess, the cultural issues that she has seemed a little more far left, further left than perhaps Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we'll have to see.
Well, actually, let's pull up this video that I sent you. It's called "Send You Back to Where You Get Back to Where You Came From." .mp4. Yeah. Let's pull that up for the audience too. So this is her talking about what she thinks is hateful speech, and then talking about what she's going to do to Donald Trump. We're gonna start playing that from the beginning. Let me just pull it up for the audience. Right, you ready?
Give me a sec. I don't have the link. 1 sec.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, it's in Telegram right there. You can just press play.
Yeah, it's just not downloaded on my phone for some reason.
You bastard.
Yeah, it's all right. Just play it for the audience. I'll get it.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna start playing right now.
I've personally been told that. Go back to where you. I bet everybody raised. Right. And in fact, people.
You know what? This is coming through super quiet for the audience. Is there any way that I could boost this volume on Firefox? You know what? While you're pulling that up, I'm also gonna pull it up in VLC instead, where I think I can super boost the volume. All right, we're putting at the max 125%. Gonna pull up the visual back again for the audience. Work. Please. Yeah, it sounds like you already got it up on your end, yeah?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Do you need an alternative link?
No, I'm gonna play it right now.
I've personally been told that. Go back to where you came from. And I bet if we took everybody raised their hands. Right. And in the back, people are raising their hands. It is vile. It is ignorant. It is shallow. It is hateful. And it has to stop. It has to stop. You know, one of the most powerful tools in the hands of the President of the United States, right here. And the current President of the United States has defiled the office of the President of the United States. We are American, and we will speak with the authority of that voice and all the license and authority that comes with that voice. Speak truth to power, which is to speak to the ideals and promises of who we are as a nation. Speak to the aspirations of who we are, and speak knowing and remembering the history of who we are, and speak with the authority that comes with the strength of knowing out of many come one, and that's who we are. And he needs to go back to where he came from.
Yeah. So, so first of all, I mean, I just want to mention real quick, out of many come one. That is not what was meant when that was written by the founders of America. That was referring to many states in America, many states becoming one country. That's what that's referring to. It's not referring to Indian Jamaican immigrants and Hungarian immigrants and Jamaican, all these immigrants becoming one. That's not what it was referring to. So that's totally a mischaracterization of, and so her rhetoric in that clip, that's why I'm saying that she seems more far left than a Bernie Sanders in some ways. This seems like an insurgent force on the American populace. And it is, she says, like, we're remembering our history, where we came from, and like who is our, and when, like, if you do include our as in like everyone, and it's like both white people, people of color, and everything, then it's like, let's remember white people put us in chains. Like that's what she's that's at best what she's talking about when she says something like that.
Yeah, it's very like us versus them. And it's very divisive, and it's very like, we need to fight against these evil white nationalists that threaten our way of life every day.
I thought you would like this clip because she says right in the beginning, she's like, I've been told a number of times to come back where I come from, and that's racist, that's bigoted, that's hateful, that's un-American. And then at the end of the clip, she says, I'm going to send Donald Trump back to where he came from.
Yeah.
The revenge narrative.
I like that, and I also like the fact where it's like, you don't come from America. Your family's not American. So she's like, it's important that I remember who I am and where I came from. And it's like, you're fucking Indian. Like, why you're like, you should be proud to be Indian. You should be saying something like, yeah, like my mother overcame terrible things in India that she had to go through, and she became a great doctor, and she was a cancer researcher. She moved across the world and got like one of the most prestigious postings at a prestigious university. She worked hard with the opportunity she had, and blah blah blah. And my father was from Jamaica, a hard place, a place where people get shot in the streets, and he became an economics professor, and he was an honest man, and blah blah blah. It's like, who you are is not an American. Like, who you are is a child of immigrant parents, right? Like, they have their own stories that are brave and exciting and whatever. And you're just completely like throwing them in the fucking garbage, like under the bus. You're like, yeah, you know how hard it's been for us African Americans here. We get told this. It's like, shut the fuck up. This has never happened to you. Like, what are you talking about? This is nonsense. It makes me so angry.
Yeah, well, so on that, and I guess related back to you being upset that she's being called black, that she's being called African American, harkens back to a disagreement we've had in a number of episodes where you're looking at logical inconsistencies, you're like doing math equations, and you're saying, wait, 2 + 2, this should equal 4. So I would cite all those studies that have been done where a Democrat or a Republican, they are given something that a politician that they support has done, and they are given something that a politician that they don't support has done, and it's the exact same thing. When it's someone that they support, they think it's good, they think it's great. When
Yeah.
it's someone they don't
Yeah.
support, they think it's bad, they think it's evil.
Yeah.
It's tribal. It's not. It's about who is on your team, and I think we've seen clearly that the media has accepted Kamala on the team.
Yeah, she's on the team. They're gonna push her. They're gonna push the narrative that she's a woman. We don't know if that's true or not. They're gonna push the narrative that she's black. We know that's not true. They're gonna push the narrative that she's like struggled and grew up. Can we talk about how she grew up? You know, she grew up in Montreal in a rich white neighborhood and went to a nice school in a nice area. Did you know that, right?
I knew she spent a lot of her life in Canada, yeah, or a substantial portion
her
of her life.
formative years, like from like I think like late elementary school, like all through high school, right? Like years that you become like a young adult. So very important time in your life. Yeah, like she's her parents are super well educated. Like they are immigrants, but like they're extremely educated and they had excellent jobs. And she lived in San Francisco. Like she grew up in she was born in Oakland. Um Grew up in like one of the richest parts of the United States of America. I guess she would have had like a disadvantage when her father left her and her mom was a single mother for a while. Actually, I think her mom was a single mother for the whole time she was raising her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like with the salary that her mom would have been pulling in, and as long as like her dad sent her some pocket change, like it wouldn't have been a problem financially. This woman is very, 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 very privileged in the world she grew up in, and you know now like her family is basically like one of the most famous families in modern times in the United States. Her sister is also famous, right? Did you look into her sister?
No, I didn't.
I don't have it in front of me, but her sister's like some famous news person and has written a book and like is a famous lawyer. And I think she was commentator on like NBC News and stuff. Like very, 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 very impressive resume, very impressive woman. Just to act like Kamala Harris is the narrative that's going to be pushed is she's like the champion of the poor and the champion of the downtrodden, the champion of the people who need her. And it's couldn't be further from the truth. If anything, like Joe Biden is more of that than she is.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, like I said, what matters is perception, and we can see further what's going on in the media. So we've got The Simpsons, and we're talking about Matt Groening's the cartoon animated The Simpsons coming out in defense of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. I'm gonna pull
Matt Groening, who famously likes to have his feet rubbed while he's on airplanes with Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that, but we are talking about that, Matt Groening.
Yeah.
This clip came after someone on the Trump campaign said off the cuff that Marge Simpson, or rather Kamala Harris, sounds like Marge Simpson. And the Simpsons official Twitter account came out. This has got about 5 million views right now on Twitter. Came out in defense of that, and we are going to pull that up for the audience. You ready?
Yep.
Right now.
I usually don't get into politics, but the president's senior advisor, Jenna Ellis, just said Kamala Harris sounds like me. Lisa says she doesn't mean it as a compliment. If that's so, as an ordinary suburban housewife, I'm starting to feel a little disrespect. I teach my children not to name call, Jenna. I was gonna say I'm pissed off, but I'm afraid they.
So, that was a nice little dig at Trump, actually, because he's losing the white suburban housewife vote. Famously.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
So we've got literally one of the most popular cartoons of all time coming out against, or rather in defense and in support of Harris and Trump. We've got a NBA photographer that was fired by the NBA.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. So this guy was fired for posting what, a meme on Twitter or something?
Yeah, and I'll pull that up for the audience right here. You don't have these links, but I'm gonna just pull it up for the viewing audience.
Yeah, I've seen it.
So yeah, he posted on Facebook this Joe and the Ho meme. So since he got, literally at this point worldwide scorn, he has since come out and said, "Hey, listen, you guys are rightly offended. I was not doing this. This does not represent the way that I see the world. This was just me highlighting things that other people were saying, and I actually don't agree with this at all." You know, whether or not that's true or he's not just trying to cover his footsteps, the fact of the matter is this guy got fired from his job for posting a anti-Joe Biden and Kamala Harris meme. And it turns out that this is actually, you know, something that has been posted before, that is going around, that this guy perhaps was highlighting. So we've got this shirt, Joe and the Ho. You can buy this online. Anti-Joe Biden, anti-Kamala Harris apparel. We've got this sign, which was funny. Joe and the Ho, Sniff and Blow Tour, 2020. Salisbury, Massachusetts. Now, I gotta say that I kind of think this is fake. I've been to Salisbury, Massachusetts a number of times. Massachusetts, famously, Elizabeth Warren won in landslides there. This is not a pro-Trump place. This is not, like, this sign would get graffitied, burned. The Rob Roy Auto, which is apparently advertising this sign, would probably get, you know, burned to the ground.
Totally.
But the fact of the matter is this meme is going around. So this Joe and the Ho meme is a thing. And it's totally within the realm of possibility. This guy was just highlighting that. Further, we've got some more stuff going on. We've got a quote-unquote racist cartoon. This is The Spectator covering it. We've got 2 frames. One frame, Joe Biden. It's time to heal a divided nation by racism. Next frame. So I'll hand you over to this little brown girl while I go for a lie down. And this guy's getting, you know, pelted from all corners of the mainstream media, saying that he's a racist and he should be fired and all that. Which, to me, I mean, this cartoon just seems like it's totally taking shots at Joe Biden. Like, in fact, I could totally see a progressive actually saying this. And this old white man is, like, obviously a jerk off.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And they're going to be like, there's like, that could be a meme how like Kamala has to do all the work because she's white or she's colored and a woman. And like lazy white man Joe Biden just goes for a nap while the woman has to work twice as hard for none of the fucking credit.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Like,
so I mean, this is like the first 5 days since she's been nominated, and we've got The Simpsons coming out. We've got NBA photographer getting fired. We've got this cartoonist who perhaps could get fired any day now, and we've got all these like late night television shows coming out. Kamala. So it's pretty clear to see what the future lies as far as the coverage of this in regards to Kamala Harris.
I mean, and I think it's like, I mean, I'm not sure if it's a slam dunk win for them, but like it seems like they're gonna win. And then I don't know what you do with all this stuff. Like, I don't know what you do when you have, if he doesn't like step down and let her run, then what happens? Like people are literally gonna be saying the thing I just said, where it's like, oh, she's really doing all the work and she gets no credit because she's a woman of color. Like, racism's going on inside the White House. This is ridiculous. Joe Biden can barely get his diapers off, and Kamala Harris is working 800 hours a week while she's trying to fix the country that Donald Trump left us. This is ridiculous. Like, we need to get him out of office immediately and get her to the position of power that she deserves to be in. Like, it's gonna be a frenzy if they win. It's not. It doesn't seem like their relationship does not seem genuine. It does not seem they have a good friendship. Like, the things that she was saying about him in the primary debates, like openly calling him a racist, openly calling him a predator, like a sexual predator, like that knockdown she had where she was like, Joe, I was one of the children on those buses. Like, single tear rolls down her cheek. Like,
I mean, that was a two-face statement, right? She actually openly said that she didn't believe he was racist, and then went on to essentially say that he was racist. So yeah.
I don't think you're racist, Joe.
Yeah,
the whip marks on my back do.
It was essentially something like that. Yeah. So I mean, there was that statement. There was what we already said about her saying that she listened to Tupac and Snoop Dogg before they had ever even released years before they had ever even released an album, while she was smoking weed, to defend her record as, you know, a Black American who is down with Black culture.
Then like famously her dad said like her grandma was like rolling in her grave over this totally not true stereotype about Jamaican men. They never smoke weed, Jason. That's disgusting and racist that you would even think that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, then we haven't mentioned yet. We've got her take on the Jussie Smollett controversy.
Excellent.
I don't think I need to explain what the Jussie Smollett thing was, but he was the guy who wore a noose around his head, said that some MAGA hat wearing guys in Chicago assaulted him at night. It came out it was a fake hate crime. Her tweet about that was, Jussie Smollett is one of the kindest, most gentle human beings I know. I'm praying for his quick recovery. This was an attempted modern-day lynching. No one should have to fear for their life because of their sexuality or color of their skin. We must confront this hate. She's never taken that back. That tweet is still up. She has never recanted. She has never said boo about anything that came out since then.
Is it possible she doesn't run her own Twitter account?
Why does that matter?
Well, I mean, if it's not her writing it, who cares? Like, you can't really hold it against her.
Well, she could tell her aides to take it down. She could tell her aides,
She might not even know it's up, though. Like, if she's not into Twitter, she might be like, what? I never said that. What are you fucking talking about? You know,
Sure.
like, she might not know.
Just like she might have been in love with, was it Willie Brown?
Yeah.
Like, she might have been in love with Willie Brown. She might have been
It's like Willie.
She might have been misremembering the times that she actually did smoke weed while listening to Tupac and Snoop Dogg. And you know what? When she said that she believes the Joe Biden sexual assault accusers, she might have just been having an off day, and now that she's gotten to know Joe Biden better, she's kind of adopted a new opinion on that. Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's a lot. Those are a lot of straws on the camel's back for her not being a disingenuous, opportunist politician.
Maybe she does believe women, and maybe she believes Joe Biden's accusers, but also she believes Joe Biden, and she can go work for him, and be his vice president.
Yeah, maybe.
There's no conflict of interest there, as long as she believes both honestly and genuinely, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like a fucking disaster to me. I actually find this interesting. I was listening to Fuentes talk about Nicholas Fuentes, and he was saying, like, this is the best we could have hoped for because she's so divisive. Like, if they had picked anybody else to be the president, okay, maybe they wouldn't be as good on paper, but they're like, Joe Biden's dementia kicking in is like a big win for Republicans. And now Kamala being like a nasty woman, like, she really is a nasty woman. Like, she really is not a nice person.
Another feature. Oh, I'll let you finish. Sorry.
I was gonna say, like, how off-putting she is, and how, like, sneaky she is, and how, like, just duplicitous and deceiving she seems to be. Like, it's really not gonna win over, I think, the progressives. So you can see like all hands on deck, the Sean Kings of the world, the Chanks, the Vouches.
Yeah.
You can see them trying to rally their people. And it's because they have taken the temperature of the room, and they're like, fuck, this was not good for us. We need to get to work.
So, like I said, she's broadly well received among Democrats. This was the most net favorable choice among the options with name recognition. She had 33% favorability rating to 34% unfavorability, while both Elizabeth Warren and Stacey Abrams and Susan Rice and others, these people either hadn't been heard of by and large by the general public, or they were thought of way more negatively. So in that regards, as far as, the temperature,
you're talking about Democrats in general. You're talking about all Democrats. I'm talking about leftists, like far left radicals. Like, I'm talking about
but
Bernie Sanders supporters. I've seen people in chats all over. This is bullshit. I'm not voting for this person,
the people.
Blah, blah.
So the figureheads are important. What is Sam Cedar saying? What is Vouch saying? What are people like that say? What is Cenk Uygur saying? This is what's important, and they are supporting Kamala Harris. And Kamala Harris,
man.
So another reason that Joe Biden picked her, Hillary Clinton, one of the reasons that she lost the 2016 elections is because the youth voter turnout was not good. The black voter turnout was not good. And someone like Kamala Harris could be said to say that she would boost both those demographics, the young and the black.
I don't know, man. I'm not seeing it. I don't see her being overly popular with blacks. I think she comes off as fraudulent. I think they realize that she is, like, not really one of them. I don't think they like that she's a cop. I don't think they like that she threw a lot of people in jail. I think they kind of see her as like an Uncle Tom.
I think it'll totally depend how she's covered in the media, and basically they'll eat what they are fed.
Yeah, that might be true. That might be totally true. And like the war machine hasn't gone into motion yet. Like the gears have started to crank forward.
Yeah,
Like
and so
once
like it's I don't it's a trap. It's a trap for Donald Trump. So you're saying that there's a weakness. There's a potential weakness, and that weakness
Yeah.
is the black vote and her record on racism and her record
It's
on law and order.
it's
But just let me finish.
it's not the black vote because the black vote's going to Joe Biden, but it is the non-center left.
First of
It
all,
is the Bernie Sanders vote. If it's close, like it was with Hillary, if the election's close, like they're going to need everything. They're going to need to win on every single demographic that they normally win. And so if like you get a whole bunch of young people who are like, "Fuck this," like
first of
I'm
all,
not voting for that.
I gotta pause. Like, first of all, it is the black vote. There's talk right now that Donald Trump, and I don't think this will happen, but Donald Trump could take as much as 20% of the black vote, which is a devastating victory. And that is something that if you asked me a year ago, could the Republicans or Donald Trump ever obtain anything close to 20% of the black vote, I would say you were crazy. But some of the polls are showing that that might happen. So to say this isn't a black vote issue,
at? Like Rasmussen or something might put him
yeah,
there?
I mean, there's a bunch of them. Like Gallup has had him bouncing at least around 12%.
Yeah, I mean, like black people don't vote for Republicans. Like it would be
they don't.
unprecedented.
We talked about this in previous episodes. There was no chance that he's going to win something like 50%. He's not going to win the black vote.
Yeah, no, but he's not going to win 20%. He's going to get like 8-10%. He's going to get what he always gets.
So yeah, 10% is still a pretty big blow.
If he can get 10%, but I mean, okay, fine. Black is important. It is going to be important, and it will, because like if he's going to win again, he's going to win by a little bit. He's not going to win by this huge landslide. So he needs everything he can get. It is important for Donald Trump to get the black vote.
Yeah,
but it's less important.
And then, so how do you think that Kamala Harris will impact the black vote?
I don't think she will impact the black vote particularly. I think Black Lives Matter is going to have a huge beef with her.
No, so you already previously said, well, black voters don't vote Republican, period. And yeah, I tend to agree with that. And largely they're kind of eating like news bites and things they hear in the streets. Largely, I mean, this is the same for most voters actually. But like I said, they will eat what they are fed. We've already looked at how the media is currently covering Kamala Harris, like historic, empowering, beautiful candidate, and they will eat that wholesale if that's what they are fed by the Democratic establishment that you say that they're essentially slaves to.
If they vote, that's what they'll vote for. But what if they just don't vote? What if they stay at home?
Well, and that's one of the reasons that I was saying that Kamala could be a boon to that vote. So, like you said, Joe Biden is already connected to Obama, so there's already that kind of like mild influence to get out and vote for, Obama's bro. But then having an actual, whether or not you think she's black, having an actual black candidate on the ticket too is just that much more.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, but I don't think the turnout's going to be there, and I don't think the youth vote is going to be there, and I don't think the progressive vote is going to be there.
Here's where I was going to before. It's a trap for Donald Trump because, as you said, there's a weakness for Kamala where in the primaries we saw this. The progressives didn't really believe her. They saw her as duplicitous, as we've been saying. They saw her as this kind of law and order candidate. She's put a lot of people away. She's not appealing to, as far as her record is concerned, not very appealing to what we would think that the black vote would be appealing to. Now, Donald Trump could attack her in that weak point, but that whole realm is a weak point for Donald Trump. Joe Biden opened up his campaign. Literally, the first thing he released from his campaign was attaching himself to the Charlottesville protest, where this is how it was framed, white supremacists rallied and they targeted this anti-racist protester and ran her over with a car. Joe Biden kicked off his campaign centering himself as the anti-racist, anti-white supremacist candidate. And this is electing a black female, specifically Kamala Harris, is just centering it on race that much more. And this is losing ground for Donald Trump, period. No matter how you slice it, this is losing ground for Donald Trump. If Donald Trump does go after the weak spot that you pointed out, he's just going to take himself into a battlefield where he loses.
Yeah, and so recently, very recently, it seems he's going in 8 then.
Yeah, yeah.
So he just did a tweet, just tweeted that he wants to see like more statues of like beautiful, strong women that have like helped build this country. Like he's already trying to go for the female.
Okay, just female though. Okay. Well, the women's stuff, I feel like he's more safe to go in that realm. In fact,
does a little better. You think?
Well, no, I think he like this isn't. You know, he's got his controversies with these things, but he can attack them in that sphere and not. And it's not necessarily losing ground for him. Whereas I think the race stuff is necessarily losing ground for him.
Well, I mean, he's been spending a lot of time and a lot of money on trying to get a positive image in the Black community, particularly.
Yes.
Has it been successful? Who knows? It's hard to say.
It's been more successful than I thought it would be. I'm gonna pull up. Keep talking. I'm gonna pull up Gallup right now.
Yeah.
To see
So
where
like,
they're at.
Okay, like we just talked. Like, is he getting 80% of the Black vote? No. But like, how much of the Black vote would he have gotten if he spent zero time and zero money and zero resources on this? Has it been worth? Like, I would argue most certainly it's been successful to some degree. The argument to make might be like, has it been worth the investment? Because he has sunk a ton of time and resources.
You are totally taking the side of the arguments that I've taken on previous podcasts and argued against. What is responsible for this change?
Well, I'm not even taking a side really right now. I'm just thinking out loud. Like, what is it good? Is it bad? Like, is it working? I don't know. I think we'll have to wait and see.
Oh,
but like, it is obvious that he's spent a lot of time and money courting the Black vote. And it is obvious that it has made some sort of change now. Will it pay off for him? Like, how do we know? I couldn't know that right now.
So I've got the Gallup polls for Black support on Donald Trump. So it had been kind of like trending upwards since, let's say, January 2019. It hit its peak in Gallup at 23%, which is actually very impressive. That's the highest it's ever been in his presidency.
Is that the highest it's ever been for any Republican?
Definitely in recent history. I can't say, I don't know forever, but recent history for sure. So the 23%, it hit in February 2020. And it's been steady decline since. Actually now, most recent, is back down to 18%. Or, sorry, 8%.
8%, yeah. Funny, because I just said I think he'll get 8% of the Black vote. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think is responsible for that change? Like, what happened in February?
The Black Lives Matter protests. It's been in steady decline since February, and it took huge hits in recent months. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna need something. I think a lot of it is hinging on the economy as well. You know, COVID has put so many Black people out of work, and he can't really stand on that soapbox anymore.
But nobody cared when the employment numbers were going way up. Nobody cared when it was like modern historic highs for black unemployment, or rather lows for black unemployment. Nobody cared. He would bring that up in all his like briefings, and like we could go back to this Gallup thing. It's a flat line. It's a flat line until like January 2019, and this was like well after that he was posting. Nobody fucking cared about the numbers.
I'm not so sure, because like something is responsible for that influx. What do you think is responsible for the influx? Just Democrats being shit, and then Black people not liking them, being sick and tired of them, and wanting a change?
Yeah, I think it's a whole bunch of things. Like, they had been grinding away to no end with Blexit. That was like the black exit from the Democratic Party. Kanye West came out. They were pushing Diamond and Silk to no end for so long. They were pushing all these Black Twitter, Trump supporting people. Fox News is like still always been running, picking the most intelligent Black Republican that they can find and just putting spotlights on him and putting a camera in front of him. So I think there's a whole ton of things, and Yeah, I'm not sure I could pin it on any one thing. Why?
Yeah,
there's
and
a-
then what? Just black, like George Floyd gets killed, Ahmaud Arbery gets shot, and then just like it all goes down. All the hard work's all done.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to like now push. They got 3 months to push it all back to where it was. They want to get that black vote.
Yeah, I mean the Ahmaud Arbery stuff like kicked off around. Well, I guess it was April or May, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably gonna
his
be
numbers
16 weeks ago.
started falling his numbers started falling in February. I don't know. I'm sure it had a little to do with the economy too, but we are talking peanuts to a certain extent. Like we had this one peak for 1 month at 23%, and other than that, it's been hovering around 7 to 12%. Right now we're at 8%. Like we're talking pretty much margin of error stuff. Like it's not even that substantial.
What does he like? What percent does he need to guarantee that he wins? Like, how much of the black vote does he actually need for it to make a difference?
Well, it depends on how he does in other demographics too. Like he's been slipping with
Yeah.
suburban white women, right? So,
Yeah.
like if he picks up on that, he wouldn't need as much of the black, blah 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 blah. But if he picked up 20% of the black vote, I would think that would be devastating.
Yeah, so if he could get 20, like assuming he doesn't lose completely in every other demographic where Republicans do well, 20% of the black vote is a slam dunk for Republicans.
Well,
to
I
win
mean,
the election.
yeah, it depends on swing states and everything too, right? It depends on how well he does in Nevada, how well he does in Texas, how well he does in Florida. Like he absolutely must win Florida, right? So there's a whole bunch of different variables.
Yeah. Well, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next 3 months. Kamala is gonna go hard on him for being a racist. She's gonna go.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
every day she's gonna be talking about how racist this administration is.
Like I
how it
said,
affects her
that's
personally.
that's how the Biden campaign kicked off. The selection of a black woman signals that it's only going to go further that way.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of hoping she wins, because if she loses, like, what kind of riots are we gonna have? Like, what kind of population are we gonna have with people on the left being like, I can't fucking believe how racist this country is. A black woman has no hope of ever becoming vice president. They probably won't even talk about Joe Biden. They'll probably just be upset about Kamala not getting in. But like people will blame it all on racism and sexism now. And that's another thing. So like Hillary did really well with that stuff, right? Hillary really progressed her campaign with that. And now they're going to be able to use all those tricks again. Try and do well. They're going to be say things like, hey, if you don't vote for Biden, you're a sexist. If you don't vote for Biden, you're a racist. And I mean, that kind of guilt trip, I think it gets people out to the polls. I think it certainly energizes people who care about those issues. Hey, sweetie.
We've got a child on video right now for the audio viewers.
I'm sorry about that.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, so I mean, people on the left like to get energized for causes like that. They like to feel like they're the victim. They like to play up people's emotions and play up this idea that we talked about on the last podcast, where it's like, we are in the struggle. We are fighting for our lives. We are going to be murdered in the streets if we don't take care of Donald Trump.
Particularly women voters are concerned with those issues. They reliably vote for social causes like that, and women voters also, which is an important factor in Biden electing, or rather choosing Harris as his vice presidential running mate, is that first, there's a lot more women in America. They're 54% of the electorate. That's an 8-point advantage. They much more reliably vote Democrat than Republican. And then second, in proportional terms, a bigger percentage of that 54% of women, a bigger percentage of women turn out to vote than the smaller 46% of men. So both in absolute and relative terms, this is a double advantage for the Democrats.
Yeah, and I don't know, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I was looking at it. Her popularity has skyrocketed over the last week, and so I'm sure it's skyrocketed because of women, and big part of that. I'm sure women are thrilled that a VP pick was female. I'm sure they're doubly thrilled that it was a person of color, someone who they perceive as black.
Yeah. Now I asked you why you, because you had said Kamala Harris was the perfect candidate. So I actually think that, and we had spoken earlier about our opinions changing. When she was first chosen, I thought it was a bad choice. since looking into it, my opinion's kind of changed. One of the great things that adds an additional trap for Trump is that Trump has been, for a while now, kind of framing this as a law and order election, which is somewhat typical of the right wing and the Republican side. It's going to be very hard to label a Kamala and Biden ticket as anti-law and order with her record as a prosecutor.
Totally. Like
They're not soft on crime.
He can't really criticize Black Lives Matter. He can't really criticize the riots. He can't really criticize like the people who have been looting and stuff. Because like, what's he gonna say? Oh, the Democrats are just gonna let these people out and just gonna let them run rampant. And I mean, it won't hold water, right? Kind of accusation.
Yeah. I mean, one of the only other major things to consider is we're in COVID right now. And a lot of the speaking is going to be done without audiences. And there's talk that the debates might even be done without audiences. So we know that Donald Trump performs much better with an audience. He plays off the audience's reactions. Oftentimes when he's reading just blind, or rather off of teleprompter, staring into the camera, it can seem kind of drawl and dull. And often cuts himself short in those instances. Whereas Biden and Kamala, it seems like that might be actually very strong point for them.
Yeah, so I think I slightly disagree with you there. I think Trump does well when he reads. I think he does better when he reads off the prompter.
Really?
Maybe not for debates, but certainly for like when they have like press conferences and whatnot. Yeah, when Trump sticks to his speeches from his handlers, he doesn't say these like,
come on. Oh,
yeah, no, I totally disagree with you.
I totally disagree with you.
Like when he's saying like, he never says this offensive shit that riles everybody up and gets everyone mad at him when he's sticking to the script. Like he sounds presidential, he sounds good, he's good at reading. When he goes off script, like yes, it's better in debate. He does those like big takedowns, like, oh well, like when I'm president, you'll be in prison, like those kind of like boom, like jabs and stuff.
Yeah, that rile up his base. No, but that's what you're talking. Like that was one of the most offensive things he ever said, and that was him going off script.
But you don't want, so like in a debate, you don't want 100% of either of those things. You want a good mix. So like I think, yeah, you are right, but like he's good on script too. Like he is a good speaker. He is good at reading stuff on script. Maybe it's a little boring, yeah, but like it's not more boring than Joe Biden and Kamala Harris reading. As to your point about I see you disagree with me there, but as to your point about like live debate, this is going to be a huge win for Kamala and Biden. Like first of all, Kamala's going to debate Mike Pence, not Donald Trump, right? Yeah. Unless they change the rules, unless they have some sort of four-way debate.
I don't think that'll happen.
Yeah. So like, Mike Pence is I think he's an adequate speaker. I think he's a competent speaker. But it seems to me like Kamala Harris is going to win that debate. Like if I just had to guess, just based on how charismatic she is and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean the presidential debates don't really have much of an impact.
Well, they don't normally matter, but now they seem to have more importance than usual.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd have a little more importance. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's that, and then Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. Donald Trump is like, he needs to figure out a way to get Joe Biden in front of an audience and like do it live. He cannot like, oh, let's do this over Zoom. Like it'll be devastating if they do that. They need to figure out a way to get an audience.
If I'm in the Biden campaign, or if I'm in the DNC, what I'm going to do if there's a live debate, I'm going to make sure someone in that audience has COVID. And that Donald Trump insisted on having this debate, and now there's a COVID outbreak. It doesn't matter how the debate goes, as long as someone dies of COVID from it.
As long as you can prove afterwards through contact tracing that people got COVID at the debate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just make the claim. That's what they did with Herman Cain. Like Herman Cain died of COVID a week or two earlier. He was at Donald Trump's campaign rally that health officials recommended against.
Exactly. I'm not saying he got it from there.
The implication was clear. The damage was done. Donald Trump's an asshole. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. So just kind of do it and then like send some old lady in and hope she dies. That's pretty duplicitous though. Or you could, I guess, have the debate and send like
I mean,
hologram Joe Biden in.
Hillary was getting the debate questions like beforehand. Like, if these aren't going to be live debate, like, are we really going to believe that Joe Biden isn't going to be sitting in front of the camera with a teleprompter and all the questions already pre-scripted? If this isn't live in front of an audience, like,
totally. Like, if it's not live, like, he's gonna have like everything be fed through a microphone into his ear. Yeah, totally. If you're Joe Biden though, like you don't want to go live. You want it to be.
You don't even want there to be debates.
No, yeah, you should say, hey, we shouldn't even have them. I need to debate this guy.
That's certainly what the angle is going to be, but so he's not gonna be able to get that. At the very least, they're going to do remote debates like via like webcam and everything.
Honestly, like I don't know if I would do it, but I would think about if I was Joe Biden, I would think about not going to the debates on principle. Just being like, I'm not gonna get in the same room with a racist like that. I worked tirelessly with Barack Obama, who is one of my closest friends, and this man tried to insinuate that he was not even born in this country, that he wasn't even American, and that's a great man. I worked with Barack Obama. Do you all remember when I worked with Barack Obama? He's my friend. I'm not talking to this racist. And just like,
I don't think that would play well. I think it would be very even hard to spin that as a positive thing as far as his numbers would be concerned on doing something like that.
I don't know, man. I think it'd be a power move. Like, I'm not saying I would do it, but I would think about it. I'd be like, man, if you just say like, fuck, like that's what they did in the Canadian elections to Bernier, basically, right? And like, it totally worked. It'd be a little harder when it's one-on-one instead of 5-on-1.
And Bernier was polling at like 5%, like at his peak. You know, this is a totally different situation.
Yeah, it's a little different. It's a power move, though. It's a power move. I'm not talking to you. You're racist.
Yeah.
You're a piece of shit. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. Oh, dear. So is there anything else you wanted to go into about Kamala?
Well, I just wanted to mention that her aunt is from an Indian city where I used to have a stalker that lived in. So that was kind of crazy. Chennai, India. Yeah, Chennai, India. Man, I just made the mistake. Like, this was a long time ago. This was over a decade ago, I think. I made the mistake of accepting a friend request on Facebook when I used to use Facebook, and I thought it was just this Facebook tourist that just wanted to know what life was like in Canada and everything. So, you know, I talked to her briefly, with not complete disinterest. Like, I wasn't interested in her. I just thought I was being nice, accepting the friend request and giving her a little conversation. But then she would not stop. And she started getting like mad at me. And so in the beginning, like looking back, it's very stupid to accept a friend request but from like nobody. But like I said, this was over a decade ago. And I was still naive. Even when she was acting like a little crazy or something, I'd be like, listen, I don't have time to talk now. Maybe I'll talk to you like at the end of the week or something. And month after month, she just got crazier and crazier and crazier. She started sending me messages that were like images of roses dripping in blood and saying, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. She started like, because I was an actor back then and there was a lot more Googling that could be done about me. And she would see that like the shows I was in, and she was like, like without me talking to her, without me posting on Facebook, she was like, how was your show at this location last night? And then she got into like my girlfriend at the time's DMs and was messaging her, and and then I blocked her, and she created like fake accounts. She started saying that she was coming to Canada. She was hinting at like this. Like I said, this is a decade ago, so it's difficult for me to remember everything. But she was working her way around the blocks that I put on her, and she was saying that she was like coming to Toronto. She was saying that she had dreams about me and my sister. It was crazy, and this went on for 6 months. I had to tell her that I was like contacting the police and everything. She's like, I don't care. I need to see you. I'm coming. It was crazy.
Did she ever ask for like money or anything? Like,
no, it was not like that, man. It was really. I mean, I almost want to try to pull up some emails right now, but maybe another time.
Yeah. Well, you know, to all our listeners who've had stalkers, we can all relate to that, right? Everybody goes through that.
Oh yeah, no, I remember waking up to voicemails from her. I'm like I don't know how she got my phone number. That wasn't even on the internet. I don't know how she got that, but there would be like voicemails from her. I shit you not. I would like check my mail, and it would just be like, "Hello, Jason. Where are you?" And then she found out when my birthday was, and she was like calling me on my birthday. And oh my god, yeah, it was crazy.
Oh fuck, man! We should have done that story on the Incel podcast. All the incels. I wish. Fuck, that sounds awesome. Like, I wish a girl would call me and do that.
Oh my god, it was actually genuinely scary. Like when it got to the point, because this girl was like researching places that she could work in Toronto, where I was living at the time, and like talking to me about all this different shit. And this girl was legit. This was not like a troll. This was not a catfish. Her shit went deep, because I actually started researching her, and I'm like, oh shit, like some of this stuff, like she actually has like resumes from like 5 years ago saying that she was at this school in Chennai, and like, oh, it was scary. Anyways, that's the end of the stalker story for now.
Yeah. So I guess the only thing left to do is talk about Kamala the Giant. Kamala the Ugandan Giant. So we were actually, I guess we didn't end up doing it, but like we were thinking about doing. Let me back up a bit. So when you Google Kamala Harris, one of the things that comes up is this man named James Harris, who was a famous wrestler in the 80s, and his name was Kamala the Ugandan Giant. And I've been researching a lot about him because I got super interested in him. And we were thinking about making a couple of jokes about it and comparing her to him and whatever. We didn't really end up getting into it. It was a little more serious podcast. But Jason, like, maybe we just throw on a little stuff for Kamala. I've spent the time researching him. He's an interesting guy. He just passed away recently, and very sad for him and his family.
Yeah. You want me to throw up which one?
We're on his cave entrance. How about that? The Cave of Time entrance.
You mean the intro that we just did? I see the Dungeon Doom. Yeah. I see the Wrestling News Center report.
Yeah. So like under links, it says Kamala Cave entrance.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah.
68 seconds.
Got it.
Like this is the kind of character that Kamala was, and I actually wish he was running for vice president.
All right, I got to get through the ads first. I got to set up some kind of ad blocker on browser right here.
Origin ad block or something.
Yeah, it's because I fresh installed my OS. So we're starting at 107.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just get that up for the viewers right here. All right, here we go. Starting now.
Oh, from the deepest, darkest part of the African continent, I bring you the Ugandan giant, Kamala!
You got like Jack Joe Dirt there, or Joe Tiger King.
Yeah.
Man, I wish this guy was still alive.
Thank you, Father! It's all right, my son, because it is etched in stone!
Yeah, so I think they were doing that in prep for him to go fight Hulk Hogan. If you go online, you can look at Kamala WWE, see a lot of his wrestling stuff. He's a funny character. Totally not going to fly in today's world. That would be called completely racist. Like, there's no way anyone would let this guy have a job doing what he did.
Well, so this guy just died last week.
Yeah. So unfortunately, he had complications from diabetes. Lost both his legs over the last 10 years. Kept going. It's kind of sad, actually. Like, I was watching his life story interviews and stuff. Seems like a genuinely nice guy. Like, went into wrestling to support his family.
Not Ugandan, by the way. His character was he's never even been to Uganda, never even been to Africa.
He actually didn't know that wrestling was fake until he showed up for like the job interview, and they were like, "Oh yeah, this is all made up." He was like, "What?" And they were telling him too. They were like, "Oh, you should be a wrestler. You're huge." Like, people were scouting him for that, and he was like, "Well, I've never wrestled, but all right, like, I'll give it a try." And so, like, he raised his family. After he lost his legs, he was doing like woodwork, making like lamps to sell to people. He had a brief music career, trying to sell songs and stuff. did some interviews. I guess probably did the circuit for like signing autographs and stuff for those like old school wrestling conventions kind of thing. But lived a pretty modest lifestyle. Just seems like a regular, nice kind of guy. And it was just so funny to find, like, I was trying to research Kamala Harris, and then this guy
Yeah.
comes up, and it was actually a breath of fresh air, to be honest, just to see somebody who was so like genuine and nice and like, like not politically correct. In contrast to looking at Kamala, who like says all the right things, but seems like a complete snake. And I don't know. It was just really refreshing. So just want to take a moment on the podcast to send our love to James Harris and thank him for all he did for us. Great man. Good guy all around.
Agreed. Well, I don't know enough about him to say that, but yeah, it was nice. It was nice running into him in the search.
Not really, but that's nice. Yeah. Did you have anything for Grab Bag?
No, I mean, well, I need to mention that we have a very special guest lined up for next week. Now, one of my concerns in viewership, we had a great episode last week. In viewership, did not perform well. This episode, I already suspected it wouldn't perform well. Judging by the amount of live viewers we've had, it doesn't look like it's going to perform well. If you are watching this and you have interest in seeing the very special guest that we have lined up for next week, I don't want him to back out. I don't want him to be on our YouTube channel and see, oh, they got 40 views on their last show. They got 35 views on this show. This is obviously a waste of my time. Watch the video twice. Put it on your girlfriend's account. Just leave it on play there. Sign into your alt accounts. Play it there. Show it to your senile grandmother. Do whatever you need to do. I want there to be views on this.
Leave it on at the old folks' home you work at.
I might have to do that. I might have to create new Facebook account or new YouTube accounts and watch it multiple times through there because I do not want this guest backing out. I'm not sure. Would it be kosher to give the name of the special guest? He's agreed to be on.
Yeah. Give his name out.
Well, we've got the author of The Drudge Revolution, which we covered last week, who appeared on Tucker Carlson's show, the most famous, most watched cable news show in the world right now. Had his feed cut off due to technical difficulties. We will be continuing that interview where Tucker Carlson left off next week. I really don't want him to back out. I want to bag him while he's hot. I don't want him to get cold. So we want this episode to get some views so he doesn't look at our channel and have second thoughts.
Yeah, we're going to
learn how to pronounce his name correctly. It's Matthew Lysiak, author of The Drudge Revolution.
I think it's Matthew Lysiak. I think seems like Polish or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, Tucker pronounced it differently on his broadcast too, so we'll get that right for the episode that he's on.
World famously, he popped into our chats while we were talking about his book and had a laugh with us. We've got tons of great questions lined up for him. We're going to go deep into the book, deep into how it happened.
I mean, we've already had some superstars on here. Not even really joking, not even really tooting our horn, not even really exaggerating. We had Nuka Zeus, transracial icon on the internet right now. We've got Handsome Truth, the most censored YouTuber in history. We've had Rachel Dolezal of Netflix special fame. And now we're going to have the author of The Drudge Revolution, great book, and featured on Tucker Carlson with an interview that ended right when I was getting really, really interested. And we're going to pick it up where I left off.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Yeah, we're going to pick it up where I left off. We're going to see how everything relates to the upcoming election, what the betrayal of the Drudge to the Trump campaign means.
Create an alt account and subscribe if you're already subscribed. Do whatever you can.
Go to your mom's house. Get her to subscribe.
Look at our last video. It's got 40 views on YouTube. It doesn't have much else on BitChute and podcast downloads and anything. I don't want another flop right now. We can't handle another flop right now.
It'll be okay, Jason. Relax. It'll be fun.
Right.
We're just in our Mala phase. Oh dear, it is depressing though to only get 40 views after so much success.
Well, like I said, I knew that episode wasn't going to do too well in viewership, but at the same time, it was one of my favorite episodes. Content-wise, it was one of my favorite episodes, and the work that went into it was one of my favorite processes. Like, I feel like I actually learned a lot. I feel like I grew as a person, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It was a good episode and a good book. And now we're going to have the great follow up with the author.
Yeah.
And that'll be a smash
I
hit.
can't wait. Yeah.
And we'll be back on track. So, yeah, that's what you got to tune into next week. Anything else?
I mean, a lot of shit happened throughout the week, but honestly, I was just more hustling, focused on Kamala right now. I mean, like we've got, we're going up against people who their job it is to cover Kamala Harris, and they spent the past 2 weeks full time doing their research. Where I'm working full time doing other shit, and some nights I can't even spend any on it. And
yeah, we should get some like paid interns or something. We should also probably just buy some subscribers, like we're Revenge of the Sith or something.
Yeah, that's what I've been thinking of. Is just like putting some money down, getting like 1K or 10K on YouTube and Twitter.
What does it cost to buy a subscriber these days?
I looked into it years ago. It was actually quite a bit, but it wasn't a prohibitive amount. And I think it would reliably grab more viewers. Like I don't know.
What do they do? They just have like a farm in China where like they've got a million phones.
I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it, but one of the concerning things is I do know that companies like YouTube and Twitter, they do catch on to those things sometimes, and sometimes channels that have bought subscribers, all of a sudden their subscriber count will drop like 10,000 just because like YouTube realized that there's some connection between the ISPs or however they do it. Yeah,
I mean, but if we got like, let's say we bought 10,000 subscribers, and then boom, like we naturally grow 50,000 after that.
Okay. Well, now you're thinking rose-colored glasses. I would be thinking I would be more along the lines of like, oh, maybe we'll get like another 500 if we buy 10,000 organic.
Okay. I thought it was like if you get into that upper echelon, that'll boost you up further.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's said that someone like PewDiePie, however many it is, what is it, 100 million subs? I don't even know. But if he just stopped making videos and just had that 100 million subscriber count, he would naturally be growing thousands a month just off of his number. People are drawn. This is human psychology. They're drawn. We're to some aspects herd animals. People are drawn to what other people are watching, and that's why this worked for ROTC, Revenge of the Sith. It's a mildly popular YouTube streaming channel. They bought a whole ton of Twitter subs, a whole ton of YouTube subs, and subsequently became popular. It is very hard to argue that did not have a huge impact on their subsequent popularity. And another podcast called Pod Awful is going after them for that right now. But I don't know. I don't really shit on that, to be honest. Like, especially, well, I guess we would have to lie about it. Like we would have to. This is all like a thought experiment. Like we would have to actually. Lie about it. We couldn't because if we said it, that's breaking the terms of service. Like we would face repercussions.
Where does it stand now that we've like live streamed it and we're like, yeah, maybe we'll buy some subscribers. So like, first of all, does that make it acceptable? Because it's like, oh, these guys are very meta. They're very tongue in cheek. They know what they're doing. So is it cool? And then B, is it breaking terms of service? Or have we already broken the terms of service just by saying we're going to do it?
No, because this was a joke. Not. This was a joke. But the thing is like if that joke, if
the joke suddenly
to OJ Simpson it, if I did it, I think the joke being there and the deadpan expressions that we gave and it appeared that we were being serious when we actually weren't. I think that could play out very poorly for us. Because the thing is that like if some random if like let's say my stalker in India bought us the subscribers, there's no way to prove that we bought the subscribers. But if there's a video of us making that joke that we just made, which was a joke, this is a comedy podcast after all.
Yeah.
Then we might be in trouble. We might be in trouble. So we'll have to make more jokes offline and flesh out that joke.
Okay, and we need some better punchlines so everyone knows we're joking. Know how funny this podcast is. Yeah, all right. Well, I guess we'll talk about it offline in a joking manner.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. You got the outro lined up there, bud?
No, I will line it up right now. You brought nothing to the grab bag. I'm disappointed.
Well, I just brought Kamala the wrestler, and then, like you said, everything's been kind of focused on Kamala Harris right now. Now there's nothing I want. Nothing big.
Well, could you please end it on a high note? Because you're historically doing this low note shit at the very end.
All right. So next week
Matthew Lysak is coming on. We're going to do a huge mega podcast. It's going to be a 2-hour extravaganza. I'm going to have all the best questions. Jason's going to have all the second best questions. Everything's going to be fucking howdy doody dandy.
Honestly, tune into the next episode. It's going to be hot.
It's going to be fucking amazing. I can't go on and on enough about it. That's my favorite book I've read this year. I'm really looking forward to it. We suggest if you're listening to this right now, actually go read the book. You can get it on Audible.
Yeah.
It's The Drudge Revolution. Just go get it on Audible. Put it on 1.5 speed. You can bust through that in like 6 hours. It's definitely.
Next episode. Remember, tune in to all your alt accounts on this episode. Tune in on the next episode too. Subscribe, like, everything.
Buy a computer and set it up and subscribe.
Yes. With a new ISP too. Buy a second internet connection.
Yeah. Actually, rent a house in another city and set it up over there. Put a homeless man in it and get him to watch.
Great ideas. All right, until next time.
Take it easy, everybody.